So you want to know all about the home buying process and what to expect. Stay tuned, and our team shares a little bit about what to expect throughout the process. Text us and our team if you need any help with the home buying process. We are here to help. Enjoy the video.
Team, and this must be hazing because I'm actually the newest member of the Joy team. I got to join all these guys. So we have Andy and then Beth, and I'm Heather, and this is Jalissa, and hopefully all of you are working with one of us. But we're just going to start out by a lot of questions people have when they come to start buying a home is, what next? And so we just kind of made a paper kind of documenting what you can expect when you start the process. So we'll let Jalissa start.
So first, as Noah went over, step one, really important, is doing the pre-approval process, not the pre-qual, a pre-approval, so we know where you fall and what price point you're in, and we have realistic expectations and what we're searching for. So once we get that done, then that's when the fun begins. We get to start looking for a home. So once you find your perfect home, we then will have, we write the contract for you as the buyer. We send it to the seller. They hopefully accept our offer. They sign off. And then our job is to get that to the lender and the title agency. And that's when Noah's team starts their work, and that's when title will start their search on the home.
Awesome. And then next up.
Oh, really? You're going to mess me up on my order? Awesome. My name's Andy. Oh, thanks. Oh, got a fan club of one. So title begins, the next line says, title begins their search and the lender begins the underwriting process. This one's kind of the easiest because you don't see a ton of it, right? What title will do is first they'll send you like a million questions, and that's when you start Googling questions like what is a general warranty deed title thingy, But they'll ask you a bunch of questions, and a good title company and a good lender, which Noah, they are there. I put, kind of joking aside, it is nice to be hooked up with somebody like a Noah or like a good title company because you'll have questions. And this is when they're going to start asking you a bunch of questions, all sorts of personal stuff like Noah will ask, right? And if they're good, they won't mind a phone call and you just ask away. All right. So that's but then a lot of stuff behind the scenes starts happening, and you'll see an occasional email, maybe with a question, but there is so much stuff happening that even as a new realtor, when I was a new realtor, I had no idea what was going on. You just don't need to sweat it unless there's a question, right? And so that's the process that starts happening there. And the next step is who?
So as a realtor, I'm Beth, by the way, Beth Hedtke, and I'm I think the longest team member of the group, but
not the tallest.
I feel like a general contractor a lot of times, like I'm the go-between. You come to me, I'm going to point you to the lender if you need one of those. I'm going to point you to, a good title company if you need one of those, and inspectors and, all these different things. So like I'm the main point person, right? You come to me, you ask all your questions, and I either can answer those or tell you who to go to. So the next step in the process would be earnest money to be deposited within 4 days of your signed contract. So that is something you don't always think about in the process of there's going to be some cash down payment on this house. And it's just the earnest money is kind of saying, hey, I'm going to give you this check for $5,000 or $500, whatever, you have agreed to with your agent as far as earnest money is concerned. And their escrow company is going to hold that. And it will be applied to your loan, but it is cash out of your pocket. That's something to remember in the process when Noah was talking cash to close. And that's a good conversation to have with us as your realtor and the lender is how much money am I actually going to pull out of my pocket? You're going to take a loan out, but there is some cash to be paid. And when. And so the earnest money would be the first thing that happens. You haven't even inspected the property, and that earnest money has to be deposited. And you're saying, I'm good for this money. Now, if you don't like your inspection and you find problems, you can probably get your earnest money back. We've seen situations that have been precarious. And, the seller might, not like that you're trying to back out of the deal if that's the case, and will fight you for the earnest money. The earnest money is always yours. I say that because if they fight it, you still get it back after 2 years. So there is that little hiccup there, but most of the time, I would say 98% of the time, your earnest money is going to go through and it's going to be applied to the loan, or you can probably get the money back. So that happens within 4 days of signing your contract. Then the next step is getting the inspector over to your house if that's what you've contracted to do. Which we're going to hear from Jim. We're going to hear from Jim. But basically, by law, as agents, we are required by law to give you 3 inspectors. We can give you the names of 3 that we work with all the time, Jim being one, and we have a few others in our back pocket too, or use somebody and if you have somebody in your sphere that does inspections, or you have a dad that's just super handy and want to go that route, you can do that too. So these are the things that are happening right away, and then there's going to seem like there's a giant gap of nothing happening.
Not me, man.
So after your inspection, you're obviously going to review the reports. You're going to go over it. If there's something you want to negotiate, you'll have that option. So once you finish the negotiations, you sign what's called a removal of contingencies, and you will then go over whether you change the price or whether they fix something. As soon as that happens and you sign that and you know exactly how you're going to move forward, you get back in touch with your lender. And if they're a good lender, they're going to wait till this happens because you're moving forward with the house. Then they will order the appraisal. So because they kind of wait to make sure that you're going to proceed based on the inspection, they will get that appraisal ordered right away. So you'll get the appraisal ordered. The appraisal is just a process that you as the buyer will pay for. It's one more thing that will come out of your pocket. I think it's the last thing, the third thing, right? You got your earnest money, your payment for the inspection, and then you'll pay for the appraisal. The appraiser will go out and basically they're just going to tell the bank, yes, this house is worth what the loan is going to be taken out for it. So they're just making sure. If there's any kind of a gap, that's another point where you would then negotiate the price with the seller. Sometimes the sellers come down and adjust the price accordingly to the gap. Sometimes they're like, well, this is what we're taking regardless, and you can either walk away or come up with the extra money to cover the gap. And those are all things you can go over with your agent and also with the lender. So then once that's done, we'll go to Jalissa for the last time.
So once that is all done, our lender will then give a clear to close. Title work is then complete. We will schedule our final walkthrough about 3 to 5 days before we know you're going to be signing. That's real important to do kind of last minute because that's your final look at the house before you sign those papers. Make sure nothing has happened, no pipes have burst, nothing crazy has happened to the property, especially if it's vacant. So everything's good, your signing is scheduled, and then we hand over the keys once funds are transferred. So it sounds easy, right?
Let me just say that as the general contractor of all these things happening, we are here we don't expect you to remember all of this or even get your chart out when we're going through the process. We're handholders. Yeah. We're here for you. We work for you. And so we're going to walk you through step-by-step process. Even if we have to repeat it 30 times, it's okay. But we're going to walk through every step of the process with you, along with you, and explain and re-explain everything that we did just up here as we go along so that you're going, okay, now I know what to do. And we're not going to leave you in the lurch. We got you.
And the only thing I'm going to add is, well, maybe a couple, 2 things, that there are multiple negotiation points. Like if you noticed on this chart, there's actually 3 times when it's literally a renegotiation possible. The first one, when you're deciding on the price and you're negotiating on the price. The second one happens when? Test. It's a test. It's the inspections, right? So, because when the inspections come back, Jim may find, we're missing a floor. Here's the floor, right? And so this becomes a
They
point.
can fix it, or they
right.
can take
So
some
now it
money
becomes a
off, or-
negotiation. You go back to the seller and you say, well, we'd really prefer a floor, or you need to reduce the price. So that's a point of negotiation. And then the next one is the appraisal, when hopefully the appraisal equals at least what you're offering for the house, all right?
But sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it doesn't. So, but the point is, what's the point of a negotiation point? The point is that it is a negotiation. Somebody can say no. Either buyer or seller can say no. So these are important points that you want to remember, that during this process, those 3 times happen, and it's going to require give and take possibly. So the deal can go south. Not with us though, not with our team.
Well, and I was just going to add, obviously you see all of us, including Joy, and one of the best parts about working with any of us individually is we've surrounded ourselves with a team. So as far as the agent is concerned, like, we all like to do things with our family. We all have kids in sports. We all have, sometimes we travel on vacation or whatever. But if any of us is not available that you're working with, any one of our teammates will step in and fill the gap. So there's never a time where you guys don't have someone you can connect or call or help. And then obviously we surround ourselves with our extended team, with our inspectors, with our lenders, with our everyone we work with, appraisers and things like that. So just keep that in mind, and just know that if we're like, hey, I can't do this, but Andy can, you kind of see a face now. He's goofy, but he can get the job done. So, all right. And we're thankful that you are willing to work with us and give us a shot.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions for them all? Yeah. Well, and I have to say, you'll be seeing a name, Grayson, along with me. Grayson is actually our assistant, and I do a lot of the back end. You'll see me here and there and everywhere. That's just, so we all work together. And we also have Lori. She is our stager as well. So if you, in 7 years, you want to sell that house, we would get Lori in there. She would stage it and get it ready. And we have a photographer. We also have a videographer back there, Heidi. So our team has been expanding. So that's what you need in this market, is all of us. As you can tell, there's many, many hands in the fire to help you. And the one thing you will always hear from us is the right house at the right time. My mom always prayed, not 1 second too soon, not 1 second too late. So you might be thinking, I am so frustrated. I have not seen that house. That's okay. That right house will be there at the right time. My mom, it took 3 years. I begged her to come here and I gave up. And that's when she walked into an open house and walked out, walked in, walked out. And then she called me up, and I was at another open house, and she's like, I want to buy that house. I'm like, you're not pre-approved? Nothing. And I'm like, you want to put an offer in? That agent, that's what we then call up Noah and say, we need it today. 7 o'clock. So that's where having partners does help.